if people somehow put aside the obvious danger to their ability to earn and maybe to their lives of saying what needs to be said, then we greatly outnumber those we are pitted against. They are ferociously powerful, but I would also point out this interesting error. So I call the force that we're up against Goliath, just so I remember what the battle is. Goliath made a terrible mistake, and it made it most egregiously during COVID, which is it took all of the competent people, took all of the courageous people, and it shoved them out of the institutions where they were hanging on. And it created, in so doing, the dream team. Created every player you could possibly want on your team to fight some historic battle against a terrible evil. All of those people are now at least somewhat awake. They've now been picked on by the same enemy. And yeah, all right, we're outgunned. It has a tremendous amount of power, but we've got all of the people who know how to think. So I hate to say it, or maybe I like to say it, but I don't think it's a slam dunk, but I like our odds. If people...
How's it going, my fellow Americans? Welcome back to the show. It's time for another brand new episode of the Politics and Punk Rock Podcast. And this is a video episode, people. I am Andrew for America, and you can go over to Spotify if you want to watch the show today rather than just listen to it. Felt like doing a video show and bringing my ugly mug back on a screen for you guys. And I also wanted to play you some clips that I want you to see actually as well. Moving forward, I might actually start doing all video episodes now that I'm up and running on Rumble. So if you guys like the video shows better than just the audio only, I'm going to try to start doing video shows in the format of the audio shows. And today is kind of a test run with that idea. So hopefully you like it. Feel free to give me some feedback. My Down Since Day One listeners, if you like this idea and you want me to continue down this path of video shows only. So yeah, welcome back everyone. It's episode 191. This intro clip I wanted to start the show off with today, that's Brett Weinstein. Was recently on the Tucker Carlson pod. And I love what he had to say about Goliath and his term, Goliath, that he uses. The term that I use in that same place is the big club. You guys know that. The big club is Goliath. And if you guys remember back to my Larry Sharp episodes, Larry Sharp had this idea of we need to create more Davids and less Goliaths in the world or in the country. Because when you raise up many, many Davids, you have a better chance of toppling the Goliaths in society. And he was talking about the big monopolized multinational corporations that push out the competition and give other entrepreneurs no market access. I've been repeatedly telling you guys that's not capitalism. That's the restricting and the co-opting of capitalism. And Brett Weinstein in that clip said it takes courage to speak up. And he said Goliath made a big mistake with COVID-19. And I've made this argument on the show before. They showed you their hand. They showed you that they can multilaterally work together, conspiring together, governments, companies, military groups. I mean, you name it. when they coordinate these operations, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. And as soon as you see the path that these operations, psychological operations, actual false flags, you know, deep fake technology, whatever wag the dog level show they are showing you on the media through their TV screens, right? It is programming you, and it's making you think in ways that they want you to think it. They want you to think the way they want you to think about things in the way that they are presenting them to, and it works. It is very effective. He said, Brett Weinstein, in the beginning of this clip, he said that the competent among us were pushed out after the COVID-19. He said, if you have the ability to think, you know who your like-minded people are, and they're basically creating an army of those that are competent and can think when they run these operations. It's only a matter of time, and hopefully more people are catching on. And that's why I and many like me are podcasting and doing our shows. I've said this a million times, is because we're trying to show you how this world actually works. And the way that this world actually works, my fellow Americans, is not the way that the media presents the world to you. They're presenting you a fictitious, created, engineered fantasy world that they want you to believe is real. And my job is to destroy that illusion for you. And 191 episodes into this podcast, my fellow Americans, I think I've been doing a pretty good job. You be the judge. Let's take a listen to another clip. This is Sean Ryan from one of his recent shows, and I love what this man has to say. So take a listen to this.
We've been saying hopefully nobody does something stupid for a long time, and I'm not condoning any type of violence, but at what point is it not stupid anymore? The government is not functioning. Our border is wide open. Our land is for sale from foreign countries. China's buying all kinds of shit. We got cartels running fentanyl and kids and cash and everything you can think of up through our border. Now they're infiltrating our government and our police organizations. I mean, they're getting in at the local levels. The spending is absolutely out of control with the money going to Ukraine. The Afghan withdrawal was a complete disaster. We can't fill the military. The police departments are completely fucking ruined. The crime in liberal cities is it's out of control. Chicago's more dangerous than Iraq or Afghanistan. People don't have clean water. The fucking government is not functioning. So why is that so stupid all of a sudden? Or why is that still stupid? Do you have any faith that the fucking government's going to reform, that they're going to fix this shit? The director of Civic Service is still there. The president, a former president, just got shot in the head, and the director of Secret Service is still there. So what I think needs to happen, everybody, you have to get it in the comments. It gives me anxiety every time I read it. When the fuck are we going to do something? Well, yes, it is doing something stupid if you just do a knee-jerk reaction. But what needs to happen is these fucking governors need to get together and figure out how to stop this shit. Like, they're the leaders. You got elected. We're looking to you to figure this shit out because the federal government is not functioning at all.
I don't know what to say. He's absolutely right. And he says, we elected you people to do this job. All these governors need to get together. My fear with that is, were they elected? And if they were elected through actual voting locally, how long before an APAC person or how long before a big money financier comes in and buys them off? Like, who can we actually trust anymore, especially in government? All the problems that Sean Ryan just listed there, he's absolutely right about. Absolutely right. And, you know, is it going to take a grassroots organizing of the people to do something about it? I don't know. I don't have the answers, but he's absolutely right. Government is failing. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. I don't give a shit what your political party is. They're both on the same team. And to participate in that two-party dichotomy as a sane, rational, logical, thinking adult person is absolute insanity to me. What are we doing? How are we still pretending that this is the way it is with the right and the left? You got to choose between your two sides as if they're not on the same team. People still can't get that through their heads. It's absolutely baffling to me. What are you seeing? I'm not seeing what you're seeing. And all the people that are thinking people that Brett Weinstein was talking about that were competent and pushed out of the logical conversation around COVID. I mean, you think we're just going to forget about that? You think that we're just going to go along with your bullshit next time around? And you know there's going to be a next time around. No. It's time to not take it anymore, my fellow Americans. I mean, the programming and the Stockholm Syndrome is so ingrained. Like, I mean, it is seemingly impossible of a task to pull ourselves out of this. I don't know how we're going to do it, people. I don't know. But let's listen to the Sean Ryan clip again, because he sums it up absolutely perfectly. And really just think about everything he lists and ask yourself, what kind of country are we living in? Is government doing its job? When this man just logically, matter-of-factly lists all of the issues and problems that are going on in this country right now. Take a listen.
We've been saying hopefully nobody does something stupid for a long time, and I'm not condoning any type of violence, but at what point is it not stupid anymore? The government is not functioning. Our border is wide open. Our land is for sale from foreign countries. China's buying all kinds of shit. We got cartels running fentanyl and kids and cash and everything you can think of up through our border. Now they're infiltrating our government and our police organizations.
There you go.
And they're getting in at the local levels. The spending is absolutely out of control with the money going to Ukraine.
Unfathomable.
The Afghan withdrawal was a complete disaster. We can't fill the military. The police departments are completely fucking ruined. The crime in liberal cities is it's out of control. Chicago's more dangerous than Iraq or Afghanistan. People don't have clean water. The fucking government is not functioning. So why is that so stupid all of a sudden?
It's not.
Or why is that still stupid?
It's the result
Do you have
of
any faith that the
logical
fucking government's
analysis.
going to reform? That they're going to fix this shit? The director of Secret Service is still there. The president, a former president, just got shot in the head, and the director of Secret Service is still there.
Not anymore.
So what I think needs to happen, everybody, you have to get it in the comments. It gives me anxiety every time I read it. When the fuck are we going to do something? Well, yes, it is doing something stupid if you just do a knee-jerk reaction. But what needs to happen is these fucking governors need to get together and figure out how to stop this shit. Like, they're the leaders. You got elected. We're looking to you to figure this shit out because the federal government is not functioning.
Maybe we shouldn't look to them, though. Maybe we should look to ourselves.
It's gone. We've been.
Okay. So, man, I love every bit of that. People, that's real. Everything that he just said to you is real life happening in the real world. What are you going to do about it? You going to look to your elected officials to do something about it? Really? I mean, at what point is life not worth living anymore? At what point do we say to ourselves, it's time for another 1776? At what point? When is enough enough? When do we draw a line in the sand and say, this is a point that you will no longer advance past? We are now going to put up a wall and repel your bullshit operations. I don't know what it's going to take, people, but we better do something sooner rather than later. Because everything that he just said right there in that clip, Sean Ryan, all of those problems that he just listed, do you know what they are a result of? Every Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals, every naked communist point out of Cleon Skousen's book, Yuri Bezmenov with the ideological subversion, all these things I've been over before, the divide and conquer agenda, feminism, everything Sean Ryan just said in that clip is the outcome, the result of coordinated, predetermined, engineered world events. And all of those things that are being used to attack and destroy the West, it's working. I continue to say this to you over the course now of the past few episodes, because we got to get it through our heads. You can't run away. You can't go hide from reality. Ayn Rand once said, you can run away from the consequences of reality, but you can't escape it. Or something like that. I forget the verbatim quote. But just because you don't like it and it's scary and it's frustrating and it seems like a impossible to overcome endeavor, that doesn't mean it's going to go away, people. So each and every one of us is going to have to make a choice between fear and love. Are you going to love your neighbor as yourself? Are you going to love this world that you had the miraculous opportunity to be a part of for a very short time in the grand scheme of space and time? Are you going to love the world? Are you going to love yourself? Are you going to love your neighbor and do what needs to be done? Or are you going to live in fear and misery and slavery and subjugation for your entire short, pathetic life? It's time to choose, my fellow Americans. We're all going to have to make a choice. I'm sorry. Otherwise, it's over. Sorry. I'm going to play this clip. I'm going to play this clip from a guy, Lenny Boy, on Instagram. Love this guy's content. He's talking about the mainstream media here, and he makes some great points. So take a listen to Lenny Boy here. Sorry, bear with me. I can't find the...
This is MSNBC talking about Biden just a few months ago.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
Everyone already knew that he could barely breathe. It was on full display for years, but the media covered it up because they're not here to inform you. They're here to control your perceptions.
Mm-hmm. We are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
I mean, people. These are your elected officials that you love and support and think make all the best decisions for each and every one of us. These demagogue megalomaniacs that think that their decision making is what's best for millions upon millions of people. They show their stupidity and their ignorance to you on public display repeatedly, and still so many of you people just slurp up the bullshit that they're spoon feeding you. It's just gross to me. And I want to be optimistic. The reason why I started this show today with that Brett Weinstein clip talking about so many people are waking up, so many of the competent, rational, logical thinkers in this world among us had to have come to similar conclusions after the whole COVID debacle. A lot of us knew what was up back when 9/11 occurred, and a lot of us knew what was up even before that with the church committee and the JFK assassination. Throughout history, you can see how the big club is in control of your elected officials. And that's why I have a hard time agreeing with Sean Ryan on that point, where he said all these governors need to get together and do something about it. I don't know if I have any faith in these governors. I live in the state of Minnesota. I have zero faith in Governor Walz. Are you kidding me? California, Gavin Newsom, get the fuck out of here. What? Have faith in these guys? Andrew Cuomo in New York, or wherever the new lady is, Hochul, whatever her name is. Are you kidding me? Yeah. All the state governors are going to band together and push the federal government out of the way with all the money they're getting from AIPAC and all the lobbyists, all the super PACs, all the dark money. I mean, I'm laughing, but I'm crying inside right now because I can't. I feel like an alien walking around this world sometimes. I really do. I feel like Neo walking around the Matrix. I've said this before, and I don't even need Morpheus to explain it to me anymore because I can see it with my own eyes. We're in real trouble, my fellow Americans, and I just want you guys to think about this stuff. They're lying to you. They're manipulating you. They're protecting the elites. The media's job is to protect the elites from you. And the way that they protect themselves from you is they create bullshit manipulation narratives. The intelligence community. I love that term because they are literally trying to control your intelligence. There's only a few companies that you get your information from that, I've said it before, over 90% of the news and information you get to hear comes from 5 companies. You think that was an accident? You think that the people that monopolized and consolidated the news media in a very Rockefeller type of way, you think they did that just because they want to tell you the truth? They want to inform you about what's going on in the world? You think that's true and real? After people like me, I and many like me continue to show you example after example after example of why that is complete and total utter horseshit to think that they're trying to inform you and they have your best intentions in mind. And still, you people sit on your fat asses in front of your TV screen and you watch the debates, air quotes. You think those are debates? So many of you just watched the grand opening ceremonies for the Olympics. That was 100% a satanic ritual. The halftime show at the Super Bowl, the stuff they talk about at these award shows, you don't think the people in charge don't have Luciferian tendencies at this point? Are your eyes open, my fellow Americans? Or are you just walking through life having tunnel vision, focusing on bread and circuses, entertainments, concessions, things that distract you, pacify you, and lull you to sleep, so that the big club, so that Goliath can continue running this world? I'm going to take a commercial break. I want you guys to think about it. And maybe go grab yourself a beverage, strap on your seatbelt, and all right, people, how's it going? Welcome back to the show. Yeah, in the first segment, I butchered that Ayn Rand quote. Her quote was, "You can run away from reality, but you can't run away from the consequences of reality." And that's the absolute truth. It's going to catch up with you sooner or later, and whether you are aware of what's going on or not. Let's take a look at this clip. This is Matt Attack from his podcast, talking about this satanic ritual that was the opening ceremonies to the Olympics. And I mean, symbolism will be their downfall, people. If you watch that and didn't pick up on the symbolism and the religious communist level ritual brainwashing tactics that thing was, I don't even know how to put it. I mean, they're not hiding it from you anymore, people. You don't even have to believe me or people like me. All you have to do is open your eyes and look. Take a look and take a listen to this.
This is spiritual warfare. Have you seen the clips from the Olympic opening ceremony? It was a satanic ritual, and I don't say that lightly. By now, most of you have seen the clips. I won't show them again. I don't want to force anyone to unwillingly participate. But I will describe some of the imagery displayed for the world to see, for children to participate in. There was a trans drag queen reenactment of the Lord's Supper, the golden calf on the stage, the lone rider on the pale horse straight out of Revelations, skulls, symbols of death, satanic red lighting, children trapped in tunnels. Even Snoop came to play along, wearing Baphomet around his neck. It was the ultimate highlight of degeneracy, and they don't hide it any longer. They are proud of it, and we, as citizens of the world, are forced to watch it. It's the Olympics. Think about our athletes. We need to support them. They play that card over and over again, don't they? Use an emotional card to protect themselves from backlash and cancellation. There are Olympic athletes that are 13, 14, 15 years old, even younger, and they are being subject to pure evil. And people are outraged, understandably, but what are you going to do about it? And every time we see an opportunity for social boycott against debauchery, we eventually give in. It's so weak. The woke mind virus hijacked America's most popular beer, Bud Light, and we were mad for a few months, but we got over it. Target was selling tuck-friendly children's bathing suits, but we've somehow forgiven them. Disney is doing trans parades at their parks and DEI shows and movies, still busy. Luxury brand Balenciaga was using child bondage marketing, but they're still in all the malls.
I've been over
Even
that.
Epstein and all his associates are still on the loose, as is Diddy and his crew. We see a problem, clearly. Yell about it, post about it, maybe be upset for a couple of days or weeks, or maybe even a month. But then we see something else shiny, and it's on to something else. The Olympics, which our future generations throughout the globe watch, train for, and aspire to be a part of. It's become clear devil worship. When is enough enough? I'm not watching a minute of it. This is spiritual warfare.
Okay, so hold on a second. I have a lot I want to say about this. So First of all, the golden calf reference, and that was a part of the show. Do you remember the clip when I told you guys about Netanyahu saying America? He was quoted in that bar in Jerusalem saying, "America is a golden calf that we will bleed and rape and pillage to do our bidding. We're going to suck it dry and we're going to eliminate it." Right? The pale horse, behold, the pale horse. That's right out of the book of Revelations. That's the title of Milton William Cooper's famous conspiratorial book that talks about all this stuff. The satanic Luciferian secret societies that run the fucking world, people. And it's the Olympics, multinational. So you mean to tell me that the governments of all of the countries involved in the Olympic Games didn't get together and agree upon what the grand opening, I keep saying grand, the opening ceremonies was going to consist of? Trans, pushing this whole woke agenda again. Snoop having a Baphomet symbol on, the golden calf reference, the red lighting, the pale horse, all of it. Gojira rocking out with flames shooting up into the air, which I thought was actually kind of cool, that part. But that's not the point. The point is that ask yourself, people, ask yourself if the people that were on the planning committee for the Olympic Games, multinational, all these countries from all over the world, think about it. They all got together and agreed that this is what they were going to present to the world this year. It's the show. For all of my Down Since Day One listeners, I used to talk about the show and the reality. The show is the fantasy bullshit Luciferian world that they want you to participate in, that they want you to believe is real and how it actually goes in this world. That's the show. Everything you see on a screen, even me, even podcasters like me, you don't have to believe us. You don't have to listen to what we say. We're trying. We're giving it our best effort. Like I told you before, many times, doing this show gives me purpose. It's how I sleep at night in this crazy world. Is in some small way doing what I think needs to be done in order for good to prevail over evil in this world. Everything you see on a screen seems so awesome and cool and spectacular, but it all lulls you to sleep and locks you into this tyranny of convenience. Their mind control operations over the years, I've told you in previous shows, they've clearly gotten good at it over the years. They're masters of manipulation and masters of control now. And they got it down to a science. And I have a clip somewhere. I'll have to show it to you. I don't know if I have it now, but I came across a clip recently where they're talking about Google and all these, the AI search engines are basically creating this world where they're analyzing your behavior and they're making predictions on future behavior based on all their data and analysis that they have of human behavior at this point, to where they're forecasting. I mean, you mean to tell me the human mind isn't hackable, in the words of Yuval Noah Harari? Go read his book, Sapiens. I told you to check his book out. Previous show, you'll kind of get an idea of what their plan is through his book. But behavioral projection is what they're doing. They're hacking the human brain. You don't think that's satanic? You don't think that's Luciferian, people? The Illuminati, the Jesuits, the Freemasons, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderbergs, the Club of Rome, you name it. The Fabian Society. The list goes on and on of these groups. The Tavistock Institute, creating the big music and the big yeah, the musicians that we all love, the superstars that are all in their pockets, going to parties, doing satanic shit in Hollywood. And I mean, put it together, people. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to see what's going on. Okay. I want to play another clip. This is a guy explaining to you how the government of the United States is a corporation. And this goes right back to my episode with Brandon Williams, who breaks it down eloquently from a legal perspective, how maritime law, admiralty law works, how they hijacked the sovereign states of the United States of America, became a big federal corporation located in the District of Columbia, right? And go back and listen to that episode where Brandon Williams goes over all that. And he's making a pretty big name for himself now. I've seen him on a lot of shows, and it's well deserved because the guy's put in the work, and you can't take the value of what he says away from him, and it's beneficial to the world, in my opinion. So go listen to the my "Don't Be a Stupid Fuck" with Brandon Joel Williams episode, and learn from the man. Okay, but here's another guy talking about how the government is a corporation, and I want you guys to check this out. Take a listen.
Has anybody heard how they say the country is not a corporation? Fact checkers and everybody says, attorneys, whoever, people just say, oh, that's conspiracy theory. The government's not a corporation. What are you talking about? I mean, this.
In order to force the president's hand and compel him to do what we hired him to do, which is run the government within the confines of the Constitution and only with the money he collects from taxes and other fees.
Well, you're absolutely right, Judge. What we have to look at is the president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America.
What?
The president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America. Look, I
was just wondering, did you know that a republic is not a corporation? Like, they're not going to tell you, but a republic is not a corporation. A corporation is not a republic. So what is a chief executive officer anyways? I mean, Representative Alan West of Florida, he said it. I didn't say he said it. Well, get mad at them, TikTok. CEO is a top-ranking individual employee within an organization. They're employees. They are an employee. In the same sense, they work for the firm, as opposed to being elected by shareholders. Is that like a little hidden secret right there? Elected by shareholders. What they say is that the citizens are the franchisees for the corporation. If they just called him a CEO, and this explains what a CEO does, if he's hired an employee that work for the firm, as opposed to elected by shareholders. So it's a CEO, and the shareholders are the franchisees, is what that says. How many people knew it was a corporation? Most people say that's just conspiracy. Y'all heard Representative Alan West of Florida, he said it. And he said it out of nowhere. He just, boom. I got to tell you, but what I do know for a fact is that a republic is not incorporated. So think about that. When you're voting, and I'm sure everybody's super ready to go cast their vote, but when you are voting, just think about that. You're voting for a corporation.
And as the president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America. Of this corporation called the United States of America.
You see, it's a corporation, not a republic. That is the capacity that the current president is operating in. You may not know that, and you may not know what that means, but this is what I can tell you what it is for sure. It is not the republic. Because the republic for which it stands, a republic is only as strong as its people. So if its people don't even know how to remain a republic, that's how strong it is. And that's why we got CEO. Most people wouldn't even know what a constitutional republic is, let alone how it even operates. The way it operates is by the people knowing their rights, staying united and be able to affect change. The way it works is unalienable rights from God. It's in your Declaration of Independence. You have them. It's right here in your Declaration of Independence, what you celebrate every 4th of July. Second paragraph. In the second paragraph, it tells you where your rights are unalienable, and that they're endowed by their creator. So that means that they come from God, endowed by their creator, and the rights are unalienable. That's a constitutional republic. The second would be the individual. They would be the authors, the reason for the Constitution. Because without the people, there's no need for government. So all authority is vested within the people. From the Constitution, the government has a contract between the people, and the government should perform these duties. But over time, roles reverse. Now we're closing our businesses down. And now we're forced to cover our faces, suppress our number one source of nutrition, which is oxygen. Number one source of nutrition. Well, the way it works in a democracy is it would have lobbyists, people with lots of money that could sway or control the outcome of a vote. They could fund one person so much money that it's almost a guarantee. That's more of the democracy side. Big lobbyists, big money, big corporation. What would we do if they couldn't get their way? It's like we'd be a republic, you know? That's democracy. Everything that people think that they want is democracy, but everything that people don't want is actually democracy. Because this is where the lobby groups win. What you want is a constitutional republic. The way you get it is by learning your rights and uniting with your fellow man. That's how it's done. I'm sorry. Step one. Who knows? Let me show you.
The president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America.
Check it out for yourself. See for yourself, guys. Well, it turns out the fact checkers are wrong, according to Representative Alan West of Florida. So if you'd like to learn how to restore yourself back to the republic,
DM Red Pill. Awaken now to get.
All right. So there you go. Awaken Red Pill. Red Pill Awakened on Instagram. I highly recommend you go check out that page. And he's absolutely right, my fellow Americans. We want a constitutional republic. I've repeatedly told you guys about Ben Franklin, that famous story where they write the Articles of Confederation or whatever, all the founding documents of the nation. And the woman says to him, "What have you given us here today, sir?" He says, "A republic, ma'am, if you can keep it." And I've told you guys a million times, we are not keeping it. It's being destroyed. And it's being destroyed on purpose. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Goliath is winning. The big club is winning. They do not give a fuck about you. I don't care what Donald Trump says in a debate. I don't care what Joe Biden says in a debate. I don't care what any of them say. It's all a show. It's a TV show. It's fantasy, which is the opposite of reality. It is an illusion. I'm going to hit a commercial break. Think about it, you guys. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. I got a few more clips I want to play for you guys before we get to the punk rock today. So that Lenny Boy clip I played for you earlier where he was talking about the Olympics, he has a follow-up video that is quite interesting that I wanted to share with you guys. So take a look at this.
The Olympics opening ceremony was a disgrace. And because I explained why it was a disgrace in my last video, which got over 3 million views in just a few hours, it got taken down for harassment and bullying. But you know what? For some people, reenacting the Last Supper like it was a drag show and having private parts sticking out when there's children around, that can also be considered harassment and bullying. For years, we've been bullied into compliance to accept things that don't even make sense. So I'll say it again because my content is about empowerment, and I don't depend on views for a check. We shouldn't give the Olympics any attention, and instead we should focus on winning in our own lives. And when they realize that they have no more viewership, maybe they'll change their tune. And when they change their tune, we'll be so busy fulfilling our own dreams that we'll have moved on from their bread and circus proposition, and the Olympic flame will eventually be extinguished.
No more bread and circuses, people. I love it. I mean, it's just gross, people. Did you see that? I mean, what what is that supposed to mean? Like maybe he's right. Maybe we should start focusing on making our own lives better. Stop watching their bread and circus. Stop watching their stupid bullshit. It's basically ritual. A brief aside, I just watched this thing the other day where someone was telling us that telling me that all the Christian religions, I'm sorry, all the Christian holidays that are celebrating one of the 7 deadly sins, and how Christianity, the backstory of it, is rooted in some type of satanic Luciferian stuff as well. Now, that's all alleged, but it's very interesting to think about this stuff when you think about the secret societies and how all of these holy books have all of this stuff in it. The book of Revelations, the Quran, the Torah, like all these books have these stories that were probably written by Freemasons over the years and rewritten and given to kings so that they can take their favorite parts out. I've talked about how the Catholic Church took all those books of the Bible out. Maccabees jumps to mind as being one of them. When you really do some theological research on this stuff, you can see a lot of crossover between God fearing and Satan worshiping. It's quite interesting. But here, I have another thing I wanted to show you guys. This was some pictures of the stuff I was talking about in the previous segment about like Snoop wearing the Baphomet sign and all that stuff. So here, take a listen, or take a look rather, at this. Give me one sec, bear with me. And here we go. So this is from Conspiracy Mind on Facebook, and this is what it says. Many fans are pointing out the fact that Snoop Dogg was wearing a Baphomet necklace at the Paris Olympics. Is that just a goat or something more? Others have speculated the amount of symbolism following the opening ceremony, including mockery of the Last Supper, the pale horse, talked about in Revelations. What do you think? So here we go. Take a look. This is the Baphomet. Looks kind of similar, right, to what he's wearing. Lots of symbolism going on. Here's the Last Supper on the bottom, straight out of Christianity. A lot of celestial astrotheology in this picture. Those of you guys that know what I'm talking about. And here's the thing that they're mocking it with at the Olympics. Now, this is the part that's given the most people outrage. They get pissed off about, right? And then here we go. Behold, a pale horse, signifying the end of times and the coming of the Antichrist, allegedly. Okay? So isn't that interesting? So I wanted to show you guys that, just a little bit of more support for what I was claiming in the previous episode. And then another thing I wanted to show you guys, and this is going back to the whole idea that I started the show with today about Goliath and the big club and the satanic Luciferian secret societies that run this world. I want you to watch this video. This is from Conspiracy OG himself, David Icke, breaking it down for you. Take a listen.
The vast majority of Freemasons haven't got a clue what their organization's part of. Only the few do. These different secret societies like the Freemasons, the Knights of Malta, the Knights Templar, all these different ones, they feed the chosen few up into this other pyramid that I'll call the Illuminati pyramid, but these organizations don't like to give themselves names, because you try researching an organization that doesn't have a name. Not easy, so you have to give it one. But Illuminati is one they do use.
There's Albert Pike.
And it's at this level of the game where the real knowledge is and the real manipulation comes from. So even the vast majority of people in secret societies have no clue what it's all about. This is Albert Pike, infamous and famous Freemason in America, absolutely almost worshipped by the Freemasonic community in America. And he said this: fictions are necessary to the people. The vast majority of Freemasons haven't got a clue what they're...
All right. So there we go. So fictions are necessary for the people is one of the things that Albert Pike said. Another thing he said that I've repeatedly said to you guys is if the people need heroes, we will provide them with heroes. If the people need a villain, we will provide them with the villain. What are they saying, people? They're saying that they've been controlling societies for centuries. These organizations, these secret societies, the Freemasons, they go back to Christian times. And some of these old ancient pagan religions are pre-Christian times. A lot of people make the argument that the King James Bible was written by King James, who was a Freemason. I've made the argument before how there's a compass and square in Kepler and Copernicus and Galileo's hands and all of these old photos. And these are the people that we look to as scientific historians of the past that have shown us and told us how this world works. What if it's all bullshit, people? I know it's a big, big concept. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to digest, but that doesn't mean it's not the truth, people. I want to play another clip for you guys. In the first segment, oh, whoops, hold on. In the first segment, I was telling you guys about that behavioral programming, that behavioral forecasting idea. I'm kind of jumping around here in the third segment because I want to get all this stuff in before we get to the punk rock. And I want you to listen to this lady break down that whole idea of behavioral forecasting in full here. So here we go. Take a look at this. Here we go.
Surveillance capitalism unilaterally claims our private human experience as a free source of raw material for its own production processes.
All your data.
It translates our experience into behavioral data. Those behavioral data are then combined with its advanced computation capabilities, what people today refer to as AI, machine intelligence. Out of that black box come predictions about our behavior, what we will do now, soon, and later. Turns out there are a lot of businesses that want to know what we will do in the future. And so these have constituted a new kind of marketplace, a marketplace that trades exclusively in behavioral futures, in our behavioral futures. That's where surveillance capitalists make their money. That's where the big pioneers of this economic logic, like Google and Facebook, have become so wealthy by selling predictions of our behavior, first to online targeted advertisers. And now, of course, these business customers range across the entire economy, no longer confined to that original context of online targeted advertising. All of this is conducted in secret. All of this is conducted through the social relations of the one-way mirror, ergo surveillance. The vast amounts of capital that have been accumulated here are trained to create these systems in a way that keeps us ignorant. Specifically, the data scientists write about their methods in a way that brags about the fact that these systems bypass our awareness, so that they bypass our rights to say yes or no. I want to participate or I don't want to participate. I want to contest or I don't want to contest. I want to fight or I don't want to fight. All of that is bypassed. We are robbed of the right to combat because we are engineered into ignorance.
There you go.
We saw these same methods being used by Cambridge Analytica with those revelations a year ago, with only a tiny difference. All they did was take these same everyday routine methods of surveillance capitalism, pivot them just a couple of degrees toward political outcomes rather than commercial outcomes, showing that they could use our data to intervene and influence our behavior, our real world behavior, and our real world thinking and feeling in order to change political outcomes.
100%, people. 100%. Remember when I told you guys in a previous episode that those surveillance capitalists got together in a room and they were talking about feminism and they were talking about women's behavior these days? And they wanted to figure out what to invest in. What is the behavior? Women are some of the biggest spenders of money in this country, much more than men, they've said. And studies have shown this. Women also command larger amounts of money in the grand scheme of things than men. You might think that that sounds stupid, but there are statistics that show that women typically in families are in charge of the finances or have a big say in where some of the money that the men are making or whoever, it doesn't matter where the money's coming from. The women are making the decision, the spending decisions is what they were saying. And they were saying some of the things that you should invest in are pet food, cat, dog supplies, wine, boxed wine. They were making jokes, anything that single women are going to consume in the future because they're growing up childless, husbandless. They're becoming more masculine and having to work. They're becoming the men that they wanted to marry and could never find because they never cared enough to pay attention to what men actually want and expect. Very narcissistic. And this surveillance capitalism is, and the online, the social media, all of this, the AI is doing this brainwashing. It's making you women think anti-Christian, anti-family, anti-motherly, and it's making you think masculine, boss babe, boss bitch, I can take on the world, I don't need a man, and here we are. So now people are actually forecasting your behavior, ladies, and there you go. There's a free investment tip for you guys. Start investing in wine, start investing in pet supplies for like cats and dogs. Women are going to have pets, a lot more pets, and they're going to be spending money on pets like they're spending money on their children. They're not going to have a man in the house. So in order to avoid being lonely, they're going to have a pet, and they're probably going to drink a lot of alcohol. And a lot of you ladies like wine. And these surveillance capitalists are using this data and investing in futures, behavioral futures. They're hacking your mind. The surveillance is collecting all the data on you. Your data is being sold to multinational corporations around the world. Slowly but surely, piece by piece, step by step, they're chipping away. They are hacking the human brain. They're telling you what your history is, whether or not it's true. They don't care. They want you to believe that this is this and this is that. On the TV screen, they're brainwashing you and hacking your mind, telling you that this is important. This is not important. These people are good. These people are bad. And you just accept it. You don't question it. You don't research it. They keep you so busy and so on the verge of starvation with the rising prices and the inability for a single income earner to provide for a family. Now both parents have to be on the job. And that goes back to Rockefeller wanting more workers and getting women into the workforce. That was all propaganda campaigns. Edward Bernays talked about that. Noam Chomsky's talked about this back in, I can't remember when it was, 40s, 50s maybe, when they were trying to get women to smoke cigarettes, and the way they attacked you ladies and they got into your heads was, this is how you be a modern woman, smoke cigarettes. It's not just for men anymore. They had that parade and those marches in the street where women were walking, and then at a snap of a finger, they all lit up a cigarette as this big symbolic fuck you to the status quo and to what the history of, men really being the only people that smoke because they were the only ones that worked back in the day. And boom, they made you feel like this is cool and this is hip and this is how you take back your womanhood. This is how you become an independent woman. Smoke cigarettes. Propaganda. Artificial intelligence. Social engineering. The big club. The Luciferian secret societies that run this world, that run all of the governments. Your government elected officials are employees of the corporation that is the United States of America. The president is hired, not elected. He or she is the CEO of this corporation called the United States of America, located in the District of Columbia. Is it all starting to make sense to you, my fellow Americans? And remember in the first segment today, when I said, I was talking about COVID, and I said, next time around, there's going to be a next time around. Well, get a load of this shit. This is from RFK, just posted this. And I don't know what all these acronyms mean, but I get the gist of what he's saying. Listen to this shit. You don't think another pandemic's coming? Here we go. Health and Human Services Secretary Becerra just issued a PrEP Act declaration for bird flu. Remember when I posted, all you guys that follow me on social media, remember when I said I posted that picture of Bill Gates DJing and the caption was DJ Eugenics mixing up the next round of bird flu or something like that? Listen to this shit. So they issued a PrEP Act declaration for bird flu. This allows the FDA commissioner to issue EUAs, whatever that means, for bird flu vaccines with no liability. Limited liability. The U.S. government has ordered 4.8 million doses of bird flu from the CSL Seqirus company, produced in dog kidney cells and using a dangerous squalene-containing adjuvant. And I remember squalene is that thing that was going to be in the vaccines that Dr. Rima Labo warned us about when she was on Jesse Ventura's show Conspiracy Theory back in 2007, 2008. You guys have heard of squalene? Gnarly substance that's going to do a lot of damage to a lot of people. And then it says here, the AMA issued CPT codes for this vaccine last Friday, so doctors could be reimbursed for administering it. What does that sound like to you? Sounds a lot like COVID-19. Sounds a lot like fast tracking a vaccine that they had before the incident occurred. They're already manufacturing the vaccine, people. So guess what? And they're already saying that the pharmaceutical companies, the doctors, the medical salespeople are going to get kickbacks for administering it. So what do you think? Think bird flu pandemic's on the horizon, my fellow Americans? Looks like it to me. Follow the money. Follow the governmental decision making and the policies that they're starting to roll out. They're throwing it in your face on the Olympics. I said it. They're throwing it in your face on the award show performances, on the Super Bowl halftime show. This is becoming the status quo of 21st century America. Government control by the big club, by Goliath, who might just be satanic Luciferian in nature, thumbing their nose at Christianity and preparing this world for the pale horse, preparing this world for death and destruction. And before we get to the punk rock, I want to show you one more thing that I just posted just today. And this is a card that is like a tarot card. You know, when your woo-woo spiritualists read your tarot card and give you a reading, right? Well, one of the things that was on display at the Olympics was this white pale horse being ridden in by this guy that's in like this futuristic knight suit. Kind of looks like the Grim Reaper in a way. But take a look at this. Someone posted this and I had to share it because it factors right into all the Olympic symbolism. And pretty crazy. Take a look at this. That's the tarot card. This is the tarot card. Death. Look what's riding into the Olympics. And this is funny. Coincidence or conspiracy, right, my fellow Americans? People, I know it's a lot, but that's why I'm here. I've told you a million times. I'm here to destroy your illusions. I'm here to constantly remind you that Goliath, that the big club is setting up the conditions on this planet to move each and every one of us towards a brave new Orwellian surveillance police state, totalitarian dictatorship, world order. And before we get to the punk rock, I want to recommend you a book. Earlier in the show today, I was talking to you, but was showing you that clip from the guy talking about a constitutional republic. Plato, Greek philosopher, once wrote a book called, can you see this? Plato's Republic. There it is. I highly recommend y'all go read that book so that you can understand the difference between a republic and a democracy, because your government in this country loves to blur that line. They like to talk about democracy all the time. They don't like talking about republic because, like that gentleman said, a republic requires engaged, informed, united citizens that will support and defend their constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And in this day and age, I think I'm going to make the contention right now that we have way more enemies that are domestic than are foreign. And the only question I want to ask you, with all of this being said today, my fellow Americans, is what the fuck are you gonna do about it? People, it's time to play some punk rock. All right, my fellow Americans, welcome back to the show. Let's turn up the optimism and the fun, and let's play some punk rock. This band hails from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Unwanted Noise is a street punk band born in 2008, hailing from Saint Hubert on Montreal's South Shore. Their first performance goes back 2011. Their debut album, Last of Our Kind, was released in 2016, pleasing the continuously growing fan base. In 2017, the band tours in the United States for the first time and recorded a split EP with the band The Hacked. After a few member changes, Nick takes the lead singer role in the band. Shortly after, in 2019, the album Tonight We Die was released. Not only do they share the stage with Almighty Bands, but they have also released a split album with Decon in 2020. Furthermore, Pills Records showcased a cassette with old and new tracks in 2021. And these guys are awesome. They have a song that I'm going to play for you that I want you guys to check out and listen to the lyrics. I know today I was talking about how bad and crazy the world is, how they're trying to hack our brains, they're trying to destroy the West, they're trying to create this new world order, yada, yada, et cetera, right? And I want you guys to stay positive. And instead of continuing to live your life miserable, helpless, hopeless, without courage, too afraid to lift your finger to make any change in this world, I told you, people, it's a choice between fear and love. Bill Hicks's famous words. Are you going to love your neighbor? Are you going to get off your ass and get to work? Are you going to love yourself? Are you going to love your country? What are you going to do about the fucked up shit that's going on in this world and in this country right now? I know it's tough. I know it can make you suicidal. And suicide is becoming an epidemic for many, many reasons out there. And I know that better than anybody because I'm an honorably discharged veteran of the United States military. So let's stay positive and let's get right with ourselves, especially you gentlemen out there. We got to figure out a way to band together like brothers. Get smart, get courageous, and get ready. Because if nobody does anything about it, the New World Order plan is going to come right into fruition, and it's going to be over for this country. Let's take a listen to this awesome song, ladies and gentlemen, making their debut on the Politics and Punk Rock podcast. Here's Unwanted Noise with their song Prevail.
Just pretending I'm feeling brave and myself that didn't have decided to crush his face. See what it feels like. Gotta pass some music on, no idea what's going on. Letting go with force time. I said I'm coming. When you feel you can't cope with life, but love is right, shit can't get worse. Just carry on, stick to the rest. All my life I will prevail. When you feel you did your best, my soul is lost, white life's a mess. Just carry on, stick to the rest. Broken bones and broken lives, bodies stuck inside my ass. And just something's no more sound. Can't feel the burden. I decide to end my life. Face told me I shouldn't try. Body goes off your time. Now is the end for me. When you feel you can't cope with life, but life is right, shit can't get worse. Just carry on, stick to the rest. All my life I will prevail. When you feel you did your best, the soul is lost, white life's a mess. Just carry on, stick to the rest. All my life I will prevail. No more suicide. No way I wanna die. Just carry on, stick to the rest. All my life I will prevail. No more suicide. No way I wanna die. Just carry on, stick to the rest. On my life I will prevail. No more suicide. No way I wanna die. Just carry on, stick to the rest. On my life I will prevail. No more suicide. No way I wanna die. Just carry on, stick to the rest. On my life I will prevail.
All right, people, there you go. That was Unwanted Noise with their song Prevail. And my fellow Americans, my fellow Canadians, we will prevail if we get our minds right, become aware and awake, realize the tactics that are used to divide us, keep us separated, keep us enslaved, keep us ignorant, unaware, distracted. What choice do we have? Sooner or later, we're not going to have a choice. I said earlier in the show today, people, we're all going to have to make a choice. Live in this world of Stockholm Syndrome, so subjugated as slaves, the plebes, the proles, living under the thumb of the new aristocracy, the new bourgeoisie, slaves to their, to their domination over each and every one of us. Secretly, quietly, they are operating in concert, in secret, behind closed doors. You're not supposed to know. That's why it's a secret society that is perpetrating these Luciferian acts in this world, whether you want to believe that that is true and real or not. I'm here to destroy your illusions about the world you think exists. My fellow Americans, the world you see on your TV screens is the show. And what I talk about here on the Politics and Punk Rock podcast is the reality. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Unwanted Noise, thank you guys for letting us feature you here on the show today. I'm going to put the song Prevail in the Politics and Punk Rock podcast playlist on Spotify. Go check out that playlist. Go to the website, politicsandpunkrockpodcast.com. Buy some merch. Check out my music at the SoundCloud link. Take care of each other out there. Get smart. Get educated. Exercise your bodies. Educate your minds. For you, for me, for all of us. Because tick tock. That's the show. Good night. We'll see ya next time. This has been episode 191 of the Politics and Punk Rock podcast, entitled Goliath. We'll see you next time.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up. We have a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account and my family. This has to be real. It's just a ride. But we always kill those good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok? But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride. And we can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. A choice right now between fear and love. The eyes of fear want you to put bigger locks on your door, buy guns, close yourself off. The eyes of love instead see all of us as one. Here's what we can do to change the world right now to a better ride. Take all that money we spend on weapons and defense each year and instead spend it feeding, clothing, and educating the poor of the world, which it would many times over, not one human being excluded, and we can explore space together, both inner and outer, forever in peace.